Hey guys, welcome to DevOps School. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is developed by Google and it is an open source platform that automates container operations. It eliminates many of the manual processes involved in deploying and scaling containerized applications. After going through this tutorial, I promise you that the concept and understanding of the Kubernetes will be absolutely clear to you.
But before that, let me ask you a few things. Are you dreaming of a career with higher pay and more responsibilities? Or are you ready to take your skills to the next level this year? Then start investing in DevOps School certification level courses which will help you to emerge skills for a wide range of entry level roles and as well as higher potential future positions. But with thousands of courses online and in classroom worldwide, finding the right one for your career goals can be difficult. You can consider our courses like Agile Developer, Agile QA, DevOps Certified Professionals, Site Reliability Engineering, DevSecOps, and Masters in DevOps Engineering, where you will have access to well-structured, easy-to-follow course content that has been developed and will be delivered by industry professionals. You can join on our training programs globally through online platforms, and if you are looking for classroom workshops, then we have regular sessions available in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi NCR, Mumbai, and in Pune. Simply compare our many courses, find the one that suits your style and schedule best, and start today.
Okay. So guys, the problem here, what we have is, what is the problem with the pod? Okay, what is the problem with the pod? So the problem with the pod is that whatever you store inside a pod, okay, simple problem, whatever you store inside a pod, if pods are gone, and you know the pods are in feral, right? Pods are in feral, containers are in feral. So pods are gone, the data which is written inside a container for the container is gone also. That is a major problem in the Kubernetes also. So how does this storage volumes are handled inside a Kubernetes cluster? How can a data persist beyond a pod life cycle? That is the question. How can a data persist beyond a pod life cycle? How can containers share a file between the containers in a pod? Because in a pod you may have a multiple containers. So if you want to share some files from the one container to another container within a pod, how can we handle this? Do you understand the problem, guys? All of us? Did you understand the problem, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. And the solution is the Kubernetes volume abstractions solve all the problem. Just like in Docker, we had a Docker volume, right? Here we have a Kubernetes volume. We solve all these problems. So now, what we are trying to learn. So guys, if you look at this image, we completed a pod, we completed our application controller and deployment, we completed the services just now. Now the last layer which we are discussing is storage, volume. That's one thing. HPA, horizontal pods autoscaler, is basically auto scaling of the pod, depends on the CPU usage and all. There's a one command is there, auto scale, might have seen it. That is what we are talking about in that way. Let's focus on that storage. So how does Kubernetes communicate with a storage? That is a question. How does Kubernetes communicate with the storage? So guys, Kubernetes uses the control plane interfaces to talk to the storage. Okay. Kubernetes uses control plane interfaces to communicate with the storage. These interfaces link Kubernetes with external storage. Okay. So in simple way, Kubernetes uses control plane interfaces, and these interfaces link Kubernetes with the external storage and these external storage solution link to the Kubernetes called volume plugins. So these external storage solution linked to the Kubernetes are called volume plugins. Now, volume plugins enable abstracting storage and grant storage portability. So in short, Kubernetes has interfaces. These interfaces, using that you communicate with the external storage. Different kind of external solutions, so storage solutions are linked to the volume plugins. And volume plugins basically enable abstracting storage and grant storage portability. Now, what is a volume? Now, volumes, by and large, you understand that. So volumes, the plugin, Kubernetes plugin have the capability to provision storage for you, and that's called volume. Such as AWS plugin can, for instance, provision storage for you by creating volume in AWS before attaching them to a node. Okay, so this is the volume we create. So yeah, volume in the Kubernetes allow you to store data outside of the container also. Yeah, this is important. If you use the volume in a Kubernetes, which allows you to store the data outside the container, so when containers stop, all the data of the container itself is lost. Volumes data is still there and it's not lost. Okay. Volumes are new since the June 2016 release in Kubernetes. Okay. So using the volumes in Kubernetes, you can allow the data to be stored in the pod, in the container beyond the pod's lifecycle. Okay. Look at this. This image is very important. Very important. I'll just pause for a few seconds. I want you to look at the arrow very, very carefully. Guys, did you understand this? See here. Volume is a part of pod. Here, volume is a part of pod. Any volume which is a part of the pod can be used in the all container. Understand that? The volume which is a part of the pod can be used in the all the container of that particular pod. Container is also part of the pod. Container is a part of the pod. Whereas pod is a part of the namespace. Look at this. Pod is a part of the namespace, whereas your volume type we can be a secret, part operates on secret. Volumes operates on secret, secret, and secret is a part of the namespace. Now, what is the volume operates on secret? That I will not discuss for timing because you don't know what is the secret. So that's the reason. But here in this image, we are talking about volume. So volume is a part of the pod. The volume can be shared with all the containers of that particular pod. Containers are a part of the pod, and pod is a part of the namespace. Is that clear, guys, for everyone? Guys, look at this here. This is also a very important image. I hope you guys have run the explain command. If not, then that's not good. Explain command you might have run, right? So look at this. In this pod, there are 3 volumes. The question is, how do we declare the volumes in the pod? So guys, if you do the pod.spec.volume, that's the explain field. That is where you can declare the volume to the pod. Look at it very carefully. How do you declare the volume to the pod? Fields are pod.spec.volumes. Now guys, you declare the volume to the pod. how can you use inside a container? You see that very carefully. First volume is being used in the container 1 also and container 2 also, but at different location. Look at this. So first volume of that particular pod is being used in the container 1 at a var apple, and same volume is being used in the other container inside a var primary. How can you use that volume which is attached to the pod inside a container? And for that, you have to use pod.spec.containers.volume mount. That's the explain command which you can write to know more about these details. So did you understand this command, guys? Everyone, each one of you. Guys, did you understand that?
Yeah.
Now let's move on, guys. Look at this. I don't think so you will find a lots of challenges understanding this YAML file. Look at this very carefully. I would say pod.spec.containers.volume mounts. That is where the volume is being used inside a container. But if you look at this pod.spec.volume, look at this volume. So you declare the volume at the pod.spec.volume, whereas the same volume, the named with test-vol, is being used inside a container at the test-mnt. How? Pod.spec.containers.volume mount. Same thing. This is example, real example, the one which was explanation. Guys, are you able to correlate?
Yeah.
Now here, what we have is a host path. Now, what is a host path? Guys, this is a plugin actually. We call this as a volume plugin. And what is the role and job of the volume plugin? The role and job of the volume plugin to communicate, to become an interface between the external storage and then Kubernetes. Okay, because this plugins only allows Kubernetes to understand the external storage. Without that, will not be able to understand. So now if you see that the plugin name is host path. What is the host path is doing? They are trying to understand the worker host path, means the place where the pod is running. At that place only external mount is there, test wall. That the transition which they are trying to make with pods for storing the data. So any data which is stored in the container test-mnt, actually in the host machine, it will be stored in the test volume. Okay, and if the container both are gone, your data will not be gone. So this is another plugin, by the way. You can have a plugin, unique plugins, which I'll discuss in some time. Let's look at one more example. Okay, let's move on. So here, look at this very carefully, this image. Here you have a 2 node in the cluster.
Working, the pod can be rescheduled on another node. The volume can be attached to the new node.
No, this will not work in that case. That's the right question actually, but this plugin will not help you. So the host path plugin will not help you. Yeah, that you had asked the right question, but the answer is not this program, this plugin. So here this plugin, what will do? The pod is gone. The data will be stored in the test wall in the host, the same host where it got created. If the pod gets replaced in the other node, then that data will not be portable. That's a drawback for the host path plugin. So there are so many plugins which is there to solve that problem. For example, NFS plugin, EFS plugin. So many plugins are there which I'll talk about in some time. Okay, just give me some time. But this is just to example how can you use the pod.spec.volume. Whatever it is, and pod.spec.containers.volume mounts. Yes, portability will not be there here. Pod is gone, data will be there, but it will not be attached to the second time same pod if that pod gets created in the second node. Look at this here, guys. EBS will solve your problem, by the way. EBS, what is EBS? Guys, EBS is a block storage technology on AWS. This will solve your problem. Look at this here. Very carefully. Here you have a 2 node. And here you have a 1 pod, my app. 2 containers are there inside that. One of the container is referencing the EBS storage, which is external storage, which is on AWS cloud. Okay. So if the container get disappeared, pod get disappeared in the node 1, it will create in a node 2, and the same EBS storage you can link to the pod 2. So this EBS plugin is different. Okay. The host path plugin will not work, but EBS plugin will help you if you are on Kubernetes AWS platform. So this way EBS is portable. At a time, 1 pod it can be used. So guys, now let's look at this little bit broader perspective. There are different kind of storage technology nowadays which we have. Many technologies are there in the block storage. Many technologies are there in the object storage. Many technologies are there in the file storage. Now, in simple way, if I say, block storage means EBS, or your laptop storage is also block storage. Your VM storage is also block storage. Okay. Object storage, if I talk about it, then so Google Drive is your object storage. Git is your object storage. AWS S3 is also object storage. So like that. When I talk about the file storage, NFS is a file storage, network file storage. EFS, AWS EFS is also network file storage. So it's like that. So there are different storage technologies exist in this today's world. But the question is how the Kubernetes will understand. Kubernetes cannot understand all the technologies, right? Only operating system can understand that. So here how Kubernetes will understand. So guys, Kubernetes to understand, they have a interfaces. Because once a Kubernetes master will understand, then only you can allocate this to the pod, right? Because Kubernetes understands pod very well. So how the Kubernetes will understand storage technology? That is where the plugins comes into the picture. The plugins which I talked about it, interfaces, plugins, whatever. So now look at this here. Different kind of storage which Kubernetes can understand and can be used in the pod. So storage like a local volume which you can use it. When it's a local volume, that means host path, the one which I was showing you one example with. And then AWS cloud also you can use it. Google cloud also you can use it. Network storage you can use it. Microsoft, so many storage technologies nowadays. How this will understand as a Kubernetes using the volume, Kubernetes volumes. Guys, these are the types of Kubernetes volume: inferal and the durable. What is the inferal means? The volume types, the volumes, if the types are inferal, the volumes will get disappeared. Same lifetime as a pod, but if it is a durable, it will be beyond life cycle of the pod. These are the volume types. Because of this, Kubernetes understand your storage technologies. Volume plugins. See here. Again, if you want to see the updated list, at the end of it, you see that there is a URL. You can check it out. So these are the category-based volume plugins. So if you want to store anything in the same host where the pod is running, you can use npm or host path. If you want to use some of the data in the block storage, you can use EBS, GPD, GCD जो persistent response करता है. Network file system, NFS, SAP, cluster, EFS, and many others. So the question is how can you provision storage technology? How can you provision storage technology to storage to the Kubernetes? That's the question. There are two ways to provision, by the way: static and dynamic. Static and dynamic, two ways to provision. Now, I'm going to talk about static provisioning right now. Now, when I say provisioning means what? What do you understand? Anyone would like to tell me what do you understand by the provisioning?
Creating or like
Allocating.
No. See, I'll explain you. Please correlate that while discussion, because many of you get confusion actually. So if you correlate with something, then it will be long lasting. See guys, we go to AWS and create a volume. See, think about it. You go to AWS and create a 20 GB of volume, or AWS or Azure or anywhere. How come you got 20 GB of volume? If you can create a 20 GB of volume only and only if AWS team has made it physical infrastructure available there in the cluster, then only you will get it, right? Right? Okay. So when you go to the AWS and you ask for 20 GB of volume, you create a volume, this process, understand, let me show you, then you will have a visualization also. Go to the volume, see here. I come here. And I create a volume, see here. See, I am creating 100 GB of volume. Think about it. If I am creating 100 GB of volume only and only if the volume is available. So this process, the one which you are coming to a platform and creating a volume, that process is being called binding. Binding. Just now whatever I did, it was a binding. So now the question was, what is the provisioning? So guys, provisioning is a process. Provisioning is a process to make the storage available for the platform. That means in this I create 100 GB only and only if that AWS team has made it all storage available. That process is being called provisioning. So simple way, AWS administrator making the storage available for AWS platform, that's called provisioning. So you as an administrator, you as a Kubernetes administrator will make the storage available for the cluster. I repeat, you as the admin of the cluster will make the storage available for the cluster. That process is being called as a provision. Now, if you go and use it 20 GB, I mean not using, claim it 20 GB out of it, that's called binding. So if I see I have this volume which is I have available, I created it. So now I'll go and I'll attach to the some attach volume to some instance. If I attach, this is called using. Third thing, creating a volume is a binding. Attaching to the sum of the instance is called binding, using. That means when you attach a volume to the pod, that's called using. But making it in the volume available, that's called binding. And any infrastructure which is got available for the cluster is called provisioning. Are you able to correlate now? Guys, are you able to correlate now? Hello?
Right.
So guys, there are two ways to provision. How can we provision? So guys, there is one API resources which we have for provisions, and that is called persistent volume. Yes, persistent volume is a way to provision persistent volume is a way to provision storage for the cluster. Who will do that? Administrator. Now user will go and claim that volume, 20 GB, 30 GB, whatever it is. That's called binding. And when you use that available volumes to the pod, that is called using. So that you can do through volume. So these are the API resources. Persistent volume. I'll show you the example. It's damn simple. Just understand that. So guys, there are two types of provisioning, static and dynamic. So static provisioning right now I'm discussing. So in the static provisioning, you have a physical storage. Then we create a PV. PV is at the cluster wide. And then someone will claim it. That's become a PVC. And then PVC will be allocated to the application pod. That is called static provisioning. So some of the things which I'm leaving it. So much of discussion is there. Guys, I would request you to look at this image. Step number 1. I'll put it in step number 1, step number 2, like that, so you'll understand better. Step number 1, administrator will create a PV. See here. Administrator of what? Kubernetes cluster will create a PV. Now, PV can be created using the PV, persistent volume API resources. Now, PV can be created of any different technology. You can have NFS, object storage, network storage, block storage, whatever the technology you use it, don't care. Administrator will create a PV. Look at it very carefully. After that, what will happen? Step number 1 is done. Then lots of PVs will be available. Pool of PVs. See a PVs pool, persistent volume pool. So lots of PVs will be available in the cluster. Now user means those who create a pod. User will claim it. Step number 2. But claim from where? From the pool of PVs. Look at the arrow. If the pool of the PV is available, claim is respected, then you can use that in the pod. Look at the 1, 2, 3. Guys, are you able to understand this image?
Yes.
Okay, guys. So look at this here. This is the final image. Just please read it, each and everything. Okay, guys. So this is the overall process of making this volume plugins available. So what you need to do? Step number 1, administrator, create a PV. Step number 2, user, claim PV through PVC. Step number 3, attach PVC to pod through volume, pod.spec.volume. And after that, step number 4, use that volume in the container using pod.spec.volume, pod.spec.containers.volume mounts. Did you understand that? Did you all understand that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So guys, I'll not complicate too much here. There's so much of discussion I can make it in, but I think if I first show you the demo, then it'll be more better. Then you can ask questions and then I'll answer. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the demo directly. How to show you the demo? So guys, I'll just type PVC in my blog search and I'll get the some tutorial. See, this is a Kubernetes persistent PV, Kubernetes PV and PVC using NFS. NFS server I don't have. This is like across the network. I don't have, so I will not go to this, but this will work for me. PV, PVC volume using host path. See, NFS is one plugin. Host path is another plugin. Okay, so these are the different kind of plugins. So here I will create PVC using host path. This is the one thing which will help you to get started with. In real time, we use file system only. File system is network file system only. But in the demo, because we don't have NFS right now, I'm using this one. The instructions will remain same for everything. Plugin changes, things will not change. So guys, one by one. See here. We'll read it very carefully, okay? Name, type, path. Plugin name, this is it. This position volume, time will be same. This plugin name will change. This plugin name is sometime we'll be having host path. Let me show you that. The plugin name will change. Kubernetes storage plugin. Different technologies are there, right? So accordingly it will change. And just see, it's not a complete list by the way. Here it is. See this types of PVs. This is a type, okay? This is a type plugin. So these are the types. This is for Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, NFS. I'm using host path. Host path means single node testing only. If you have NFS, you can use NFS also. Like that. So here it will become NFS and the path of the NFS. That's all. So now creating a PVs. Now guys, PVs is done by, let me write it so you'll understand that, done by admin of cluster, okay? Now this is at the cluster level only. PVs are at the cluster level, okay? Cluster means admin creates for every entire cluster. Anyone can use it. So can I show you that first? So go to my machine. kubectl get EV. Okay, see here. It is saying no resource found. It never said no resource found in a default namespace. How come? Because PV, I'll show you that first. Look at my screen. Persistent volume. Look at this. Where is that? Here. Persistent volume false. Namespace false. That means PV do not belong to the namespace. But you know one thing? PVC belong to the namespace. Let me show you here. PVC. Here it is. See, true. Okay. So PVC is done by user. Okay. Let me show you this PVC now. Simple code, guys. By the way, all this thing you can do through command line also. PVC here. So, and here 1 GB. So if you see here, I have got a PV 1 GB. I requested a PVC 1 GB. What about if I request 2 GB? I'll show you that one also. So here I'm creating PVs first. Let me create a PVs first. One by one. So PV dot YAML file. Okay. And save it. kubectl create -f PV created. Get PV. See here. It's available, right? 1 GB. Available. Okay. PVC. Do you have a PVC? See guys, no resource found in default namespace. This PVC belongs to the namespace. In that case, Rajesh. In my case, none. Okay, none. Now what to do? Now you know one thing. I am not requesting 1 GB, rather than I am requesting 2 GB because of some reason. I want to show you some message actually. So here VIPVC.YAML. Look at it. I requested 2 GB, okay? And here kubectl create -f of PVC -n is equal to Rajesh. -n is equal to Rajesh. And here guys, I created a PVC. Get PVC. See here. What is this? Pending. What is this? Available. That means you requested 2 GB, but I don't have a pool of 2 GB. I am only 1 GB. So your request is pending. This is a user, done by user. This is done by administrator. Pending. So there is no pool available for 2 GB. But can I create a 2 GB PV? Let me do that. Guys, I am creating 2 GB PV. Okay, now here 2 GB PV, or it can be 3 GB also. Remember, if your request is equal or more than, less than, if the PVC request is equal or less than PVC, then request is bounded, accepted. So understand that. So here I am creating a 2 GB, or it can be 3 GB also. Okay, no problem. Okay, let me create a 3 GB in this case. Okay, and I am creating the same directory structure. Okay, no, not a problem. Just change the name of it. 1, I'll make it 1. Okay, so this is the PV1. Okay, so VIPV1.YAML, and here, see here, create PV1, and here, see, pending. See, pending. Watch it. Bound. Done. See, bound. Can I see PV now? See, 3 GB is got bounded. So PV is a pool created by administrator, dynamically or statically, and PVC is done by user to claim the PVs and then use inside a pod. Guys, so far, so you got it? Did you understand the PV and PVC concept?
Yes.
So now I should, there's a one PV is available. I should use that one also. Other, if you use my machine, so you will use actually. So here there's one PV available. So now I'm going to create a PVC in my namespace, and only one is PVC. So I'll create one more. This is 1 GB. Okay, so here 1 GB, and name I'll change this one. PVC1. Okay, so VIPVC1.YAML and this one, and kubectl create hyphen f pvc1 hyphen n is equal to Rajesh. Okay, that is done. Let's check it out. PVC bounded, both are bounded. Now you see the PV. Done, guys. So I got a 2 PV, 2 PVC. If you create a more PVC, you'll get into the pending state. Guys, did you understand so far whatever I was trying to tell you? Okay. Now the last thing, guys, look at my screen. This you know very well. This I don't think so I should teach you. See here. Sign is equal to pod. Image is this one. Pod.spec.volume PVC. What is the name of the claim? I have to match that. I forgot. Whether you want this one or this one. I think name is matching, so I don't have to worry about it. And this is the name of the volume claim which I'm using in the header display. That's all. And user share engine. See here. So can I create pod this guys? This pod, can I create it first? I'll do the magic. Right? vi pod 1.yaml and in the kubectl create hyphen f pod1.yaml hyphen n is equal to Rajesh. Guys, I created get pod hyphen o wide hyphen n Rajesh. Guys, this is the one. IP address is this one. HTTP curl HTTP. Okay. No page. It's running, but it's no page forbidden. Okay, so see here. If I copy anything, I will see here. This is from the PVC host path, which is here, and offsite 2G. This has been pulled by one of the PVs. The location of the PVs, I had it PM. You can use describe, guys. This I'm not doing it, but now you understand the describe command. So that means if I create inside this in the host path, which one? The machine is a worker, okay? Worker. So go to the worker machine. I am going to that worker machine, and this is the worker machine. And 40 to the worker machine. Worker, remember, pod get created in worker, host path will also get created in worker. Yes. See, this is the path here. So let's copy index.html. So vi index.html, and I hello DevOps school.com. See the contact, hello DevOps school.com. Let's do the curl now. Okay. Understood now? Now guys, last thing, if the pod is gone, data should not be gone. So can I prove this? So let's prove this. So kubectl get pods -n is equal to Rajesh and delete pod name of the pod -n is equal to Rajesh. Pod is gone. Whether the data is gone or not, index.html, let's check it out. See, it's not gone. Can I recreate the pod with the same PVC? And can I call one more time? See? So data is persistent beyond the pod life cycle. This is with the for PV, PVC, volume mount. You understand that now, guys? Any question? Any questions, guys? Hello?
If the node will gone, this will go, right?
Yeah, if the node is gone, this is gone. For that to solve that problem, you can use NFS-PV. NFS-PV.
Okay, those plugins are already installed in Kubernetes, or we need to install?
No, those are already there. NFS plugin, I'll show you the example. Set up a NFS plugin. See the NFS, you can use ready-made program. You need to have NFS for it. This is the one, you can use it. See, same mapping. Again, type will become NFS. NFS server IP address, that's all, and location.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, I will request you all to try it out this one, because in your infrastructure, this will work flawlessly. If you want to set up NFS and all, and then try it out this one. So this is with the program, a little working program. Let's say if you want to set up NFS in CentOS, I'll share my instruction as well. Those who want, see here. Set up NFS server and use inside a Kubernetes pod. You can try this tutorial. So anyway, that's up to you to try. But first one is compulsory. Second one, this one is not. It's up to you, but first one is compulsory. I'm updating the DFI nodes.
Thanks for watching. If you liked our Kubernetes session so far, please enroll for our channel membership $399 plan to get access of all the parts. Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest.
Thanks for watching.